You don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything at all.
Hi folks, and welcome along to round 7 of the Spar and Pool Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championships. We're here at Thames and the boats are just about to be put into the water. Placemakers fully restored after problems in Whitianga, and Jesse James champing at the bit to try and close the points even more on the defending champion Placemakers. Before the boats hit the water, let's check the point situation in the championship. Well, as you can see, it is closing up in the National Championship. The overall situation as we go to the points on the different classes. The National Open is getting close as well. In the UIM 3 to 6 litre class, it looks like Grant Smith has got that one in the bag, with FMI missing a few rounds. Further down, Sport A, well, it's the locals from Thames, Greg and Phil Crawford in Chindit. And in Sports B, it's John Frew and Todd Goodwin in the Predator. Further down still, Greg Brink still holds a commanding lead in the Formula Holden. Well, a quiet before the storm here on the Firth of Thames as we get set for round 7 of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Championship. And the points leader is this boat, and that is Placemakers.
We're pretty focused on certainly making sure we finish today. Obviously hoping to get a reasonable place. We're always obviously out there to try and win. So yeah, if we can get some more points back on the board again, that'll be great.
Sleepyhead hopefully have put the problems of their trim tabs behind them.
It would have to require Placemakers to break down both races and we win both races. I don't wish that upon them, obviously. So, but it's each race we just take as it goes and hopefully take a victory.
The boys from FMI once again hoping for rough conditions here at Thames.
At this stage, we're saying if it's a calm race, SciTech are going to pull away from us. So we're playing it conservative. We've got plenty of gas on board. We're hoping it'll rough up, and we're just going to finish.
Yeah, and we still haven't got a flat one. We were hoping. It was like a mill pond when we arrived over here yesterday, but she's going to be pretty rough out there today, I think.
Jesse James certainly sitting in the number 1 position after a great finish in Whitianga at round number 6. What can they do here? Well, as you can see, it's pretty choppy out here in the Thames Harbour. We're getting ready for the start for the 7th and penultimate round of the Spar and Pool Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship. And the big drama is already, we can tell you that Placemakers are out. The defending champions, the points leaders, it was very close going into this one. Only 450 points separated Placemakers from Jesse James. And as we came out here to the start position, Placemakers were slowly but surely making their way back to the wharf. So drama here in round number 7 of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Championship. You can see the boats milling around behind us. We are just about set for a start as we get underway. Tough conditions for all the competitors and the start boat. They are underway in round 7 of the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboats. So there is the start from the air, and a great start coming from Sleepyhead, FMI Racing going with them, and it looks like the Lewis boys have got their wish because it is very rough on the Firth of Thames. We're on board here with FMI Racing, and you get a graphic example of just how rough it is. Very shallow here in the Firth of Thames, and it is the wind opposing the tide, and it's whipped up a huge chop. FMI Racing getting out with Sleepyhead, so there we are, the race leader, number 44, Peter Turner and Craig Archer. There is Jesse James. Now I suggest that the game plan will have changed on Jesse James because I'm sure they will now know that Placemakers is out. So maybe these guys will just go for a finish. Number 10, Jesse James, they took their first win at the last round in Whitianga, and as we said, the points were closing right up. Well, now they've got even closer. No Richard Shaw's and Wayne Carson, so Sleepyhead out in the front. Placemakers, well, what is going to happen on that boat? It was all about the drive for 5 at the beginning of the championship season. That's why Peter Turner came back into the series. No one has ever won 5 New Zealand offshore powerboat titles. Richard Shaw's and Wayne Carson are close, so too is Peter Turner, but now there's more problems for Placemakers. No problems for FMI, and we've seen this a few times in the previous rounds. They're battling with Jesse James. SciTech, Grant Smith there in the boat based out of Wellington. You heard at the last round, new engines on the boat. They were hoping for flat conditions. They certainly haven't got their wish. It is rough here at Thames. Around the mark they come. Here are the locals. This is Phil and Greg Crawford getting major air on Chindit, and Dean Veal comes through in the European Design Alien. So battles within battles in the race here. The race scheduled, of course, as it always does, to either be a 100 or a 60-mile race. This is the first of the Honda boats. This is Greg Brink, new co-driver for Greg today in Eldon Archer. There is Honda Marine, and this is the Thompson brothers. out of Auckland's North Shore. So we expect close battling in the sport class boats. John Frew and Tom Goodwin through there in the Predator. A couple of the 30-mile boats out there. A lot of the boats, in fact, have pulled out because of the conditions. And the conditions are like this because it is very shallow here in Thames. We're on board the start boat, and I can tell you that it's only around about 4 metres deep. One of the veterans, Bill Thompson in Total Oils. Lots of air from the sport boat. This is the race unfolding. Sleepyhead, Peter Turner and Craig Archer, 1100 horsepower in their 30-foot catamaran. Brand new boat for them this season. And finally, they are starting to get the best of it, although not the conditions to do it here in Thames. These guys, well, they just love the rough conditions, and that's what they've got today. This is Scott and Warren Lewis on FMI, and we're back on board with them here. And you've heard people say about the pounding that the body takes. What about the pounding the equipment takes as well? Lots and lots of airtime. Jesse James, well, I suggested that they get off the throttles a little bit and just go for the finish, and I think that's what they're going to do. Grant and Wayne Velder, they're too experienced to risk any problems here, and they're close enough to maybe get their first national title. With the demise of placemakers, the game plan has changed. These guys, well, the game plan's always the same. Phil and Greg Crawford in Chindit. The Thames locals, they just go as hard as they can for as long as they can. They're in the 100-mile race. That very distinctive shriek from the Evinrude outboard. They asked me if I wanted to have a ride in their boat this weekend. I politely declined. Dean Veal in Alien, getting major airtime. Round the mark they go. Forging their way over the waves. This is Greg Brink. He leads the Formula Honda class quite handily. He's got a new co-driver this time in Eldon Archer, and Eldon, of course, a cousin of Craig Archer. It's all about the family here in New Zealand offshore powerboat racing. Second in the Hondas at the moment is Travis Thompson in Honda Marine. His brother Carl sits alongside him. Hondas, of course, all the 19-foot Sonic boats with the Honda power plant. Two Mercruisers powering Sleepyhead, 1100 horsepower, and out in front, FMI Racing hanging tough in second place. And look at this, FMI doing more than hanging tough. They're going to challenge Sleepyhead for the lead here at Thames. Well, they said they wanted it rough. They've got their wish. Look at this, bow to bow stuff in the New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship. Spar and Pool Factory bring it to you. These are the helicopter shots, so we can keep up with them. So they're down a little bit in the overall speed, but I'm sure that's due to the tough conditions we've got here. 2 or 3 metre swells on the upwind leg. FMI go into the front. Placemakers back in second place, back on board with FMI. The skater clawing the sky here in the tough conditions on the Firth of Thames. Warren and Scott Lewis going bow to bow with the National Open Class boat Sleepyhead leading the race at the moment just by the merest of margins. Oh, and there's some problems here. There's some real drama, and that is Supercat. That's Perry Morris and Bevan Antonelli's boat, and you can see for yourself it's upside down. The control boat alongside. There is Bevan, the co-driver, just trying to secure a towing line to Supercat. The good news is both Bevan and Perry are fine. As we go back to this battle at the front of the field, Sleepyhead now just starting to assert its dominance just a little bit. The big 525 big block Mercruise is doing the job up against the Mercury outboards here on FMI Racing. And look at Scott trying to find a smooth line in this very chopped up Firth of Thames. I can tell him from personal experience there is no smooth line out there. We're on board the start boat. And okay, we're anchored off the mark, but we're watching some fantastic action here. This is Greg Brink and Eldon Archer in Conacher Minolta, and if you have a look at the back of the boat, they've lost the engine cover, and that happened early on in the first lap. So the conditions are taking their toll on all the classes of the boat. Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge in Cytec currently sitting in third place. great look at, oh, and they nearly bury the boat. Look at that, action aplenty here at the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboats. They came off the crest of the wave. Here it is on the replay. Watch the boat, and then they bury the nose into the next wave and absolutely stall it and swamp it. Unbelievable action here in the New Zealand Offshore Powerboats, and SciTech have come to a halt. Out comes Grant, out comes Dave. Hopefully they can get going again. Quick check on the engines. Meantime, back in the front, Peter Turner and Craig Archer, FMI, through in second place. There is the stricken SciTech, the rescue boat right alongside. We're back on board here with FMI. We should say for safety considerations, we have a helicopter not only getting the graphic aerial footage for our coverage, but also a helicopter shadow the boats with a paramedic on board in case there is a problem. So it's all about safety. For these guys, it's all about conserving and going for the finish. This is, this is drama on board the start boat.
Brett, I'm thinking, mate, Sleepyhead was on lap 5, is that correct? Over.
Confirm they are on lap 5 at the moment, yes.
My recommendation is that we now call this race off. We have boats broken down, we are running out of water at the Thames Marina. We will not be able to get those broken down boats back in with the crane. What do you reckon, over?
No, I agree with you totally, Kelvin. We've got to have time as far as I'm concerned that I believe we should call the race, yes.
Okay, let's put a red flag and checkered flag up on mark boat A, over.
And there we are, the race has been called, and called way short, but the results will stay the same. 44, Peter Turner and Craig Archer will get the win. In second place it will be FMI. And the reason you heard, too many broken boats and we're losing the water. It is desperately shallow here in the Firth of Thames. That's why we have the big chop, and that's why this race has been shortened. There is FMI through in second place. Checkered flag comes out for Jesse James, and it just got a whole lot tighter at the top of the table with 1 round to go. That is in Tauranga in a couple of weeks' time. Greg and Phil Crawford come through in Chindit. They know no other way. They're still hard on the gas. And there is the boat, Supercat.
The boat's sort of getting on in age, and I said to Perry, well, we'll just take it easy, but we flipped off one down the back and just about put the seat through me behind, and I thought, gee, this could be some damage, and we carried on, and next minute we had water coming in Perry's side, filled his cockpit up, and we threw on bilge pumps and all the necessary things, and next minute came my side too. So it was time to get out of the cockpit and stand on the deck, and then it was time to get off the deck and get in the water.
Good news is you guys are okay.
Yep, no, it's thanks to the sports, thanks to all these guys out here. You can see helping behind me now. Without all the camaraderie in the sport, where would we be?
FMI Racing comes through in second place and gets closer to SciTech.
When you spoke to me before the race, I said, you get out there and it's a bit rougher than what you think it is here. Well, I couldn't believe how rough it was. So it was a very rough race, and it was perfect. For us to be able to run with Sleepyhead in a race like this is gobsmacking, and they got twice the horsepower of us, and they certainly were able to pull away and get their act together there towards the end of the race, just before it was called. But certainly for a boat like this to be able to run with the big boats in these conditions, yeah, we're very, very pleased with that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You know, we were like 6 or 8 feet apart at times, and we come off a swell and he come off the wrong way, and we just about collided, and it was good. I was just talking to him about it, and he was as fretful as I was, I guess, but it was interesting. It's exciting racing like that, though. It really is.
The Velda boys going for the finish today. But you guys look like you were half throttling it today.
Oh, I was definitely doing that today, that's for sure. We're probably saving the bodies a little bit as well as the gear, and definitely today the boat come through with no damages, so we're pretty happy about that. We're just looking forward for the Tauranga race now.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's all on the line.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, there'll be nothing held back, I would say, at Tauranga for anybody, I would think. So, yep, bring on the last race, I say.
The mechanical woes continues for placemakers. No scoring points in the last 2 rounds.
Our big thing is obviously we've got 1 round to go. I mean, we're still in front in the points. We've got to get our act together and make sure that we get a good run there. So, I mean, that's our mission over the next 2 weeks, is to get the thing sorted and get back on the water.
So if we go to the final round in Tauranga, it is in the overall situation. Placemakers still in front, 1900 to 1675. In the National Open, it's a whole lot closer, 1900 to 1825. In the UIM 3 to 6 litre, it is SciTech out prohibitively from FMI and DMZ Global, whilst in the sports class, it is Greg Crawford and Chindit ahead. In Sports B, it is John Frew and Todd Goodwin, and in the Hondas, it is Greg Brink